Welcome everyone for another match, and here we are going to watch the second match between Imports Backpack against Sunder. And once again, there is like a lot of great synergy in Imports Backpack team, but on this match I wanted to focus on the offlane matchup because it's the Quang into the Sevarog, which was the most common matchup in that tournament. Quang being an absolute monster in the offlane, losing absolutely no matchup, and most teams decided to play the Sevarog into it. And here we're going to focus on Noz, that is actually managing to survive the early game thanks to a little bit of help from his team. And then you see a very great display of how to create space, wasn't being like too hasty on using his abilities, to just like use the ability at the right timing in team fight and actually dominates through that Sevarog pick once the scaling is complete. Third quarterfinal, second match between Sunder on the downside, composed of G-Boy, Ragnarok, Kimbo, Purple Swan and Medboy. Here we see that previous match was played by Ridwano. Here they decided to bring Purple Swan, so that was like a particularity of the tournament, is that you can have sub and you're free to change sub after the draft has been completed. And so probably like one of the idea here is Ridwano is more proficient on the more tanky type of support. Purple Swan is super proficient on the Bellica, so they take advantage of that rule on the side of Sunder. While facing Import's backpack team composed of Julie Latina, Zane, Wangle, Import and Noz. And so for that match, we're gonna focus on the offlane, and we're gonna focus on the POV of Noz, which is the offlaner of Import's backpack on the Dusk side. And Sevarog against Quang was kind of like the usual matchup in offlane. Quang was like completely like dominating the offlane meta for that tournament. It doesn't really have any losing matchup, and so most team like defaulting to go for the Sevarog as a way to have any sort of chance to actually like have a decent lane to be played. And so that would be like the opportunity to discover a little bit how the dynamics of that lane is actually going. Noz is playing Sevarog, which is the character he practiced the most for that tournament, facing against G-Boy, and we're gonna see how it goes. Getting already like the first stack, trying to dodge as much as possible the Light of the Heavens to not get like poked too much. And we just like secure a little bit like those early Siphon stack, not losing like the push too hard, but still getting the wave in a good position for himself to be safe on the tower. You can't really like go aggressively in the early levels against like this Quang. And so we're gonna secure like 3 Siphon stack, and all 5 last hit on the first wave. Here the Quang is getting the level 2, so we can like apply a little bit of pressure. We get the level 2 as well, denying 1 creep, using the Siphon to reduce a little bit. We get the subjugates again. Nothing too surprising here for now. And here we're gonna try like to maybe like stop the wave from fully crashing. At least we keep the minion, the range minion out, but that means that it's only gonna be like 1 stack here. So we're at 4 stack overall on the passive. Getting our 5th stack. Missing 1 last hit, unfortunately.
Allied tower under attack.
What is important is to not miss the cannon, because each cannon, for those that don't know, on the Reaper of Soul passive of the Sevarog, which is basically gaining stack as you finish minion with ability, like a cannon is worth 3 stacks. So it's very important to not miss the cannon, because like that's a huge portion of like what allow you to reach like the important stack. And here we see that G-Boy is actually like going for a heavy rotation here, abandoning his lane to try to go like for a little bit of invade onto Import. But that will like leave Noz a little bit like free to rotate. Not free to rotate, but to farm his stack efficiently. And G-Boy came back here. Or looking also with the gadget that was like hovering towards the dual lane on the side of Import's backpack. And we're maybe like gonna get like a little gank here going, as we can see. Kimbo going in, trying to get the security gate. Unfortunately, the security gate not connecting. Maybe if the security gate connect here, we would have gotten a kill, but in the meantime, on the other side, we do get an aggression onto Noz, but Wangle is rotating, Import is around. They're gonna try to catch like this Ragnarok, and we get a perfect landmine that forced like the camera back into this teammate, while also like putting G-Boy out and not being able to deal damage, and Wangle securing the first blood of the game through this amazing landmine that had like double function of like putting camera back into arm's way while putting G-Boy out of like the fight, so he couldn't like dish out all his damage. So here we're gonna get like a perfect like 5 stacking here. G-Boy is going back to base, so that means that Noz is gonna get like a free crash into the tower. I don't think that Noz can actually like afford to go for the Cyan buff after. He doesn't have enough. But Import is coming. Import stealing like the 2 range stack that Noz was hoping to farm. And so here, since like Import is here to secure that teal buff, like that means that G-Boy won't be able to take it for themselves. And so Noz actually, like after this whole situation against Ragnarok, is actually like in a pretty okay spot. Finish the Brimstone and working towards like the wrap immediately. And so he's gonna stick on the Brimstone and not gonna go for like immediately finishing the Fire Blossom. Hello Lil Bai, how are you doing today? So we're simply gonna come back to the lane. To be fair, Sevarog is kind of a scaling pick into the Quang. The idea is like how much you can manage to get your stack early on. We can see G-Boy finally getting the level 5. So I would say probably like a slight lead in terms of experience on the side of the Sevarog, because he has all these 3 minions up in terms of experience. And here we're gonna get like a little bit of damage done here, like Light of the Heaven level 3. We're starting to deal quite a lot of damage. And so here that's the moment that we start to have to respect. On the other side we get the Brimstone done as well. And we're gonna try to secure like as much stack as we can. As we said, cannon is very important. And so here I think we secure the cannon plus like 2 other minions. So 5 stack in the pocket. And yeah, here we can see like Noz being kind of low. We do have Import on the other side of the map while the camera is on the red side. We got the level 6, so G-Boy needs to respect that a little bit, and Noz can simply like freeze the lane in front of his tower. He's gonna get the double stack. G-Boy checking a little bit what is happening in the jungle. Noz is forced like to kind of step up every time. Here you can see here just getting like 1 stack. Cost him a lot of life, but that means that not this wave is going to be pushed on the tower, and so he can simply like farm safely. G-Boy take advantage of the priority he has on the map to try to maybe look for something in the mid lane, but it's just gonna come back with Ragnarok securing the river buff. So Noz has a little bit of time here, so we're gonna get like triple stack, probably use the subjugate to secure the cannon, and I guess we get like the first level of the shoulder already, which is pretty efficient at 7 minutes. And in the meantime they do manage to find a kill in the 2v2 scenario in the duo lane. We do kill the Bellica on Purple Swan, which probably like was through a nice hook from Zane. So Noz go back, finishing the Nullifying Mask and immediately going to a second wrap. So I wonder what item we're going for with that heavy like magical armor. Maybe a Crystalline Cuirass? I'm not sure. We'll have to see like the item completed. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we can see that we're focusing on the Fangbooth, and so we're trying to get the first objective of the map, the match on the side of Import's backpack, despite the fact that they are the team that actually lose Purple Swan on the on the side of Sunder, and they do secure the first Fangbooth of the game while Import was like hovering around the river buff. And so they take advantage of like this little timing after like the dual lane being forced on the tower. Even though they lose Purple Swan, they were getting priority on the dual lane, and they take advantage of that. As an answer, we see that there is like a lot of people around mid lane. We see Zane, we see Import trying to apply some pressure onto Kimbo and maybe create like some priority overall on the map, apply some damage and such, while in the meantime the matchup in the offlane is still like remaining kind of slow. Here we maybe have like a dive potential, but potion has been used. We're pretty tanky thanks to those like overall, I think we're around like 37 magical armor. Yeah, exactly, 37 magical armor on top of the base armor, so we're reaching around like 80 magical armor. And here we get the Rungle rotation for the second time. Kimbo is being a little bit bullied in the mid lane, and so we have seen Wangle going multiple times trying to help Noz having a better time in this like difficult matchup. Hello Mankyu. So we're going back to base, second nullifying mask complete, plus the vitality beads. In the meantime, we're just like going to walk back to base, nothing too crazy. One gold being pushed on the tower, but just like going probably to go back to base here since he has no mana. And Noz just like finally coming back. So here it's important, like you can see Noz used the subjugate, and there is like a subtle thing about it. He used the subjugate to only get the minion and try to minimize the damage he was doing on the wave. So G-Boy cannot be in a situation that he can actually like freeze the wave, even though I don't think like G-Boy want to do it, but it's actually important to not like lose too much. Here we're looking for a little bit of a bait. Import is coming, but without subjugate being up, there is like, I don't think any kill potential. Ragnarok is back, they try to use the call. Here we're just gonna use the colossal blow to just like disengage in that situation, because overall at that moment in the match, Quang and Chimera is much stronger than Feng Mao and Sevarog. Both Sevarog and Feng Mao requires a little bit of farming before they can actually like become to be very fully online. And so like the 2v2 is not to their advantage. But once again, we see the rotation from Wangol. They try to go, they do find like a good focus onto Ragnarok. Ragnarok is 1 HP. Feng Mao finally find the kill. And here we get also like the flash from the Sevarog that wasn't really like needed. But here we try to go in and import. Managing to get the pickup while being like 1 HP, and we ended up like getting 3 kills because they also find a kill in the dual lane in the 2v2 scenario. So like I was saying, Chimera plus Quang is actually like superior to Sevarog and Feng Mao at that timing in the match. That's why we see Noz immediately using the colossal blow to disengage. But with the Howitzer like rotating, it's another story, because the gadget is building alchemical road, so she's stacking at that moment, and so she's not like that strong compared to the Howitzer that have finished combustion, which is an absolute monster at that moment in the match. And they find the combination of the burst damage of the Feng Mao plus the Howitzer to almost delete Ragnarok and end up finding the pick, and suddenly this 3v3 ended up to the advantage of Import's back team, and they're already like 5-1 on the board. So we're probably gonna be able to see what is the first full tier 3 item that Noz is going to finish. I assume still not. Just the Banded Emerald, so we will have to wait a little bit. I assume it's Crystal and Cuirass. I'm not sure there is other item that go for that build pass, but I might be wrong. And here we can see Wangol trying to apply a little bit of pressure. On the other side, we do get the mini prime being started on the side of Sunder. So Sunder really focusing those objectives, and if they manage to secure that mini prime, that means that the mini prime will be available for the next fight of like the Fangtus. Unfortunately, we got the replay mode like freezing a little bit, but not too long, and so they offer the mini prime to Ragnarok. That means that Ragnarok will have the advantage of that mini prime for the next fight. And here you can see Noz has reset after crashing the wave on offlane, and then he immediately rotates towards the Fangtus. Fangtus is going to respawn, and so here they're going to take advantage that they have their offlaner while the enemy team is not there. And so definitely like this rotation from Noz tells that Import's backpack want to contest that Fangtus, and here we can see that G-Boy is still in the offlane, so that Fangtus should realistically go for the side of Import's backpack. It's a 5v4 while the offlaner is here, and as you can see, like offlaner super strong. On top of that, Wangol is also like much stronger than Kimbo in that situation, so you don't want to take that 5v3. So they're gonna accept to trade basically the tier 1 tower in offlane to secure this second Fangtus and kind of buy themselves time in the long run, because their team like scales super duper well, while like the side of team Sunder doesn't have the same amount of scaling. Like the Feng Mao is very scary in the late game, the rest, the Howitzer, the Sevarog. And so like getting this second Fangtus already out of the grasp of Sunder means that the triple Fangtus strategy is not available anymore to them, and so that put them like kind of a lot of breathing room for this Import's backpack team. And so like sacrificing your tier 1 tower in offlane to get that is actually not very huge price to pay. So here there is like some fight going on the other side of the map. Ragnarok finding a kill, try to utilize this mini prime. But if we come back like into the offlane, it's simply like little farming time. We try to keep securing as much as we can. Get the siphon back, get the triple stack onto the cannon. That's one of the things that is a little bit of a limitation of Sevarog, is Sevarog is very predictable in his like ability usage. Because Sevarog needs to secure those stacks with his abilities, and so if minions are low on HP, you can be sure he's gonna use like the ability on that timing, because you can't really afford to just like not stack the minion. And so this is, but like Sevarog has an inherent disadvantage when it comes to like trading and stuff, because it's very easy to bait everything. Thank you, Visk, much appreciated for the kind words, thanks a lot. So here we're trying to go like, and we try to get it, and I don't think we got it. I think G-Boy just secured it with the light of the heavens. We do get the Titan Crest a finish, so we're gonna see like what we are going to opt for the side of Noz. Razorback, Sapphire's Mantle are all like good solution, Mirror Boots as well. I think it's probably a Razorback against like Chimera, Kira, like Gadget, a lot of like damage that can be reflected. And here G-Boy tried to cancel like Noz, but unfortunately it doesn't connect, and so Noz just like safely go back to base. And I guess like this Steel Mail is now like him working towards finishing the Fire Blossom after the Crystalline Cross has been completed. So we can see we're already like at the second tier 2 level of the passive. So far doing a pretty okay job when it comes to farming, despite like being into a here we miss like all 4 minions. As soon as I say that, like Analyst cursed, immediately we do miss a few stacks. Hello Adanor. Well, the thing is, every time I will try to watch every game as it can be on YouTube, but that doesn't stop me from interacting with the chat. It's just that if like the game ended up like being very valuable for a learning standpoint and like a nice like commentary, then it goes on YouTube. But I kind of cast every single game expecting it could be one of those games. And so here they do find like a pick in the mid lane. There is quite a big fight. They already find Wangle and Import, while like G-Boy and Noz is just going at it like one against each other. And as you can see, like the Quang is just like bullying the Sevarog at that point in the match. Finishing Fire Blossom. Tainted Bastion is already finished. We get the Tempest. And yeah, it's just like, it's so hard to fight into the Quang. Quang is just like dominating every single matchup in offlane. And so you kind of have to weather the storm and try to go for a rotation. And here we can see, since like minion were under the tier 2 tower, we try to go for it to kind of secure like as much farm as we can. There is also like minion on the tier 2 tower on the offlane. So like this double kill in the mid lane of both jungler and mid lane kind of put like the whole side of Import's backpack a tempo behind. Well, yeah, it's I wonder how they're going to change Quang, but like yeah, having like an offlaner that doesn't seem to have any like bad matchup is definitely something that needs to be adjusted, because it's not fun in terms of like competitive aspect. So here once again we see that Noz is rotating for the Fangbooth, except like the first Fangbooth is not like trying to be present every time. We're maybe looking for like a 5v5, Noz taking like the front line. Here going into the Quang, Ragnarok is already on the Fangbooth. The enemy team actually like secure the Fangbooth. Noz is going to try to zone as much as he can. He tried to go onto the Kira. Kira got deleted immediately. We got focusing now the next target. Here Noz is like peeling for his teammate while like Wangle was in the pit. Noz immediately come back trying to frontline. He's probably like gonna be not up, but the flash. Oh, we stay under, but that means that now we can go for the rocket. Wangle still 1 HP. Noz like still in peeling duty, and now that the peeling duty is done, he's going to go for the chase. We do get like the security gate. We're dodging the security gate. We go for the flash. the dash in with the Phantom Rush. We still have the Subjugate, and you can see that Noz wasn't using his Subjugate because he knows that the kill was secured, and he kept his Subjugate, forcing the flash out of Kimbo after he himself go for the flash. So a very, very nice team fight by Noz here. As you can see, he switched like seemingly and seamlessly between actually like going on the aggression and being a frontline and creating space for his team, and then like going back onto peeling his teammate that needs him. And he does that, like he start the team fight, enter the pit, try to get some engage on that like pressure that Noz created, allowed for the kill onto the Kira, and then he know that his teammate needs some peeling. Like Julie Latina was under pressure, so he go back to peeling for Julie Latina. Then he follow up, going back on the integration, understanding that Wango is actually low in the pit, he needs some peeling, so then he switches peeling from Julie Latina to Wango, and once the peeling is done on Wango, he realizes that it's now back to chasing, creating space for his team, and so he go for the aggression, hold up on the spell correctly, to not like overspend it, and like force also like in the end the flash out of the gadget. Hello Super Reaper, how you doing? And so here we can see we're tier 3 on the passive at 20 minutes in competitive gaming. It's pretty good. And here we're just like probably nothing to be taken. It's doing great. It's doing great. For now, first match is interesting to watch. We're back to the Noz Siphon. We haven't seen a lot of them that match, which is good, but sometimes like Noz with his abilities pretty hard. And here that was like one of those. It's the second game Zane against Sunder, like this, the third quarterfinals second match. So on top of that, like we see that Ragnarok is going like very deep, getting like pressured here and ended up getting killed without finding like any kills. So Ragnarok has a tendency to go a little bit too deep for kills, and here he got like punished for it. They tried to find like the kill on Julie Latina, but in the end, once again, Purple Swan getting fully baited by Julie Latina. Import forced to flash away, but the Dusk is actually like good enough to end up like securing the kill. But in the meantime, we do have like Sevarog that was like alone on the left side of the map and just like secure tier 1 tower. G-Boy go for the rotation, but at the same time, that's a rotation to maybe secure a tier 1 tower that was already secured. So a lot of tempo lost on the side of G-Boy. And as you can see, that's a tier 1 tower secured by Noz. They're gonna get like also like some damage on that tier 2 tower. And that's just gonna be like disengage time for now. How much did Safe get bullied early? Like the early levels, like Noz played kind of passive and accepted to not like overcome it for a few CS and stuff, so it has gone well. After like the level 5, when G-Boy start to get like the first Brimstone and trading, like it's still like a lot of bullying, but Noz know that it doesn't win the matchup. And they also like got like very good rotation from Wangol and a good fight from Import that allowed Noz to get like out of this early phase. So like the teammate helped him to get out of the early phase. And so we can see like in terms of farming, we're at not that far behind, only like 10 CS down, I guess, after like maybe slightly more, like 15 CS down when it comes to it. At 23 minutes in a matchup that is actually like not that simple to navigate, is actually good. But a big portion of like this matchup is like the rest of Import's backpack need to understand that Noz doesn't get like priority for rotation. Despite the fact that it doesn't get priority for rotation, like they did a great job at always like having Noz for the second and third Fangtooth, and while like not like fully like losing completely the 2 tower on the offlane side. So here we seem to have like some action going into the mid lane. They do find Purple Swan on the belly cap. Purple Swan not having the best game of his life, already died 5 times. And here we go for the rotation. They don't want to go for the split push. They want to create like some pressure here, and you can see Noz is on duty to create space for his team. here he's going like for the rotation, like being sure that nobody is in the jungle. And here you can see he's looking for something. He's maybe like going, ooh, a nice hook after the jump. Colossal blow onto the 2 target. Hwang is getting low, and that's a nice double kill pickup. They have to be careful because now they started to kind of be all of them kind of quite low. But they do secure like the 2 kills here. They try to go for the subjugate onto Madeboy. Madeboy getting poked up quite a lot. And in the end, it's just going to be like a double kill and probably reset timing for themselves. And here, this is very nice. Like, we would have seen like a lot of people like immediately on the subjugate go for Phantom Rush, Colossal Blow, trying to make a play happen. But here, Noz playing with a very calm, cool-headed kind of like Sevarog, and he knows that just like his presence in a certain position is already like creating danger. You don't have to use your ability immediately, and in the end, because it just created like menace on that situation, then Ragnarok feel like a little bit pressure to have to go back and then just get hooks, and suddenly you get like a nice Colossal Blow on 2 target, and that's 2 free pick while like having like to risk yourself, and that create like tempo for them to kind of force this R prime because 2 people were dead. And so here we do have Import's backpack going for the R prime. Also, one thing that is very well made here, you can see as the R prime was getting low, 3 people get out of the pit to be sure to be able to reception any kind of like aggression or stealing tentative. And so we have a very clean like 5-man R prime being secured simply out of like this calm and composed dive on the tier 2 tower in the mid lane done earlier. So here a little bit of aggression is done onto like this Sevarog, but it's a Sevarog full tank with R prime and that have all his ability up, so you're not gonna find anything. And once again, Noz creating space for the team. He's trying to go get the Colossal Blow onto like the thing. Like Noz is just like zoning a little bit too deep here, forced to flash away, but they do find Ragnarok into the trade. Hwang is a little bit getting low as well. It's at 1 HP. He might survive with 1 HP here, and so in the end it's only like a 1-4-0 trade, but the team do have like, oh, and they can go for the chase. Actually, Import finding like 2 kills, and so I said like it was a 1-4-0 trade, but as soon as I blinked, 3 more people get killed. And even if it was a 1-4-0 trade, like the side of Import's backpack is actually in a very good situation because everyone in the enemy team is kind of low, while themselves are also a few people low, but they have the Opram regen on their side. And just like that, they end up like finding 3 more pick, 4 people dying, and that turned like this 1-4-0 trade into suddenly like just winning the game. But yeah, like exactly like you said, Eleanor, the burst from Fengmao at that moment in the match with the rest, like people think they're safe, but they actually like got destroyed. And so overall, Noz ending up that match on 1-0-7. Didn't do a lot of things like super fancy, and I wanted like to I think like it was great to see like this kind of like slow paced Sevarog that just like creates space for his team because he's like this frontline tank and just like wait for the right moment to use his ability, and ended up like dominating. And also like those early rotation for the second and third Fangtooth really helped to stop like any type of potential like aggression or like triple Fangtooth play that the team of Sunder could have gone for.